Have you ever felt an inexplicable connection with someone? A feeling so profound that it transcends what we typically understand as love. Edgar Cayce, often called the Sleeping Prophet, dedicated his life to exploring the deepest mysteries of human consciousness and spirituality while in trance states. Among his most fascinating insights were his revelations about soulmates, connections that span beyond our current lifetime. Today, we delve into Cayce's remarkable readings to uncover the 6 unmistakable signs that indicate you've encountered your soulmate. What you're about to hear might forever change how you view your most significant relationships. Edgar Cayce's understanding of soulmates differed profoundly from our modern, romanticized concept. Through thousands of readings conducted while in deep trance states, Cayce accessed what he called the Akashic Records, a vibrational archive containing every soul's journey across time. The soulmate, Cayce would explain in his readings, is not necessarily a romantic partner. Instead, it is an individual with whom your soul has made a sacred agreement to help each other's spiritual growth through many lifetimes. This perspective immediately challenges our contemporary notion that a soulmate is simply the perfect romantic match who completes us. In my years of studying human consciousness through the veil between worlds, I observed that souls rarely travel alone through the great cosmic journey. When examining the Akashic records during my trance states, I could see brilliant threads of light connecting certain souls across the tapestry of time and space. These connections weren't random. They were deliberate, meaningful contracts established before birth. I often told my clients that finding your soulmate isn't about discovering your other half, but recognizing a soul you've danced with before, sometimes harmoniously, sometimes discordantly, but always purposefully. The first sign you've met your soulmate, according to my readings, is the unmistakable sense of familiarity upon first meeting. Many individuals who consulted me described this phenomenon with remarkable consistency. When I first met them, they would say, I felt as though I'd known them my entire life. This recognition goes beyond physical attraction or shared interests. It's a soul-level recognition, a sudden remembrance of a connection that transcends your current lifetime. Your higher self recognizes their energy signature instantly, even if your conscious mind struggles to comprehend the depth of this recognition. I recall a particularly revealing reading for a woman from New York who had recently met a man who left her profoundly unsettled. It wasn't love at first sight, she explained, but rather recognition at first sight. In my trance state, I could see their souls had shared at least 7 previous incarnations, as siblings in ancient Greece, as teacher and student in medieval Europe, and even as adversaries during a time of great conflict. Each relationship had served to polish different facets of their souls, preparing them for this lifetime's reunion. The immediate familiarity you feel with a soulmate is your soul's way of celebrating a reunion with a beloved companion from beyond the veil of physical existence. The second sign manifests in how time behaves when you're together. It seems to bend and flow differently. During my readings, I frequently observed that souls who shared significant past life connections experienced what we might call time distortion in each other's presence. Hours feel like minutes. Conversations flow effortlessly until dawn breaks unexpectedly. This temporal anomaly occurs because your souls are resonating at a higher frequency together, momentarily transcending the ordinary constraints of physical reality. You're experiencing a glimpse of the timeless dimension from which all souls originate. A businessman from Chicago once sought my counsel regarding a strange experience with a new business partner. When we meet to discuss projects, he said, we become so absorbed in our conversation that entire afternoons vanish without notice. In my trance state, I saw these 2 souls had once spent lifetimes as astronomers in ancient Babylon, charting the movement of stars together night after night. Their souls remembered this shared passion for exploration and lost themselves once again in the flow of discovery. When you lose track of time with someone, it's often because your souls are momentarily returning to the eternal now from which they came, free from the constraints of earthly chronology. The third sign emerges through the extraordinary synchronicities that surround your meeting and relationship. These aren't mere coincidences, but cosmic orchestrations, what I often described as the language of the universe. Perhaps you both reached for the same obscure book in a library, or discovered you were born in the same hospital, or found yourselves repeatedly crossing paths in unlikely places. These synchronicities serve as spiritual signposts, guiding two souls toward their reunion according to a higher plan. A schoolteacher from Boston once described meeting her husband 3 times in one day, at a coffee shop in the morning, at a bookstore in the afternoon, and finally at a friend's dinner party that evening, though neither had been originally invited. During my reading, I could see their souls had made arrangements before incarnating to find each other through these orchestrated coincidences. Their higher selves were working with spiritual guides to ensure their meeting in this lifetime. When examining your own relationship, look for these patterns of synchronicity. They often reveal the invisible hand of cosmic intelligence, working to reunite souls who agreed to find each other again. The fourth sign resides in the unique quality of challenges you face together. Contrary to popular belief, soulmate relationships aren't always easy. In fact, according to my readings, they often involve significant trials designed to accelerate mutual spiritual growth. What distinguishes these challenges, however, is how they precisely target the areas where both souls need development. It's as if the relationship holds a sacred mirror to your deepest wounds and greatest potential, demanding evolution. The hallmark of these soulmate challenges is that they feel purposeful rather than pointlessly painful. A young doctor once consulted me about his turbulent relationship with a woman he felt inexplicably drawn to despite their constant conflicts about his workaholic tendencies and her fear of abandonment. In my trance state, I perceived that they had shared a past life, where he had been a sailor constantly away at sea, and she his waiting wife, who eventually died of illness during his long absence. They had incarnated together again, specifically to heal these patterns of absence and abandonment. The challenges you face with a soulmate often reveal unresolved themes from your shared soul history, patterns you've agreed to transform together across lifetimes. The fifth sign manifests in the unprecedented spiritual awakening that occurs through the relationship. Soulmates serve as catalysts for each other's evolution, often triggering profound personal transformations that might not have occurred otherwise. This could involve discovering new spiritual practices together, experiencing synchronistic spiritual insights, or finding that your consciousness expands dramatically in their presence. Many who consulted me noted that meeting their soulmate coincided with a significant spiritual upgrade, as if the relationship served as an initiation into higher awareness. A musician from Nashville described how meeting a certain woman suddenly amplified his creative inspiration and simultaneously awakened an interest in meditation, something he'd previously dismissed. During my reading, I could see that these souls had once been part of the same mystery school in ancient Egypt, where they had taken sacred vows to help awaken each other if they became spiritually dormant in future lives. Your soulmate often carries the precise energetic key needed to unlock dormant aspects of your spiritual nature. This awakening may feel uncomfortable at times, like spiritual growing pains, but it ultimately serves your soul's highest evolution. The sixth and perhaps most profound sign lies in the feeling of expanded consciousness when you're together. A sense that your connection taps into something far greater than either of you individually. In my readings, I often observe that true soulmates create what might be described as a third entity, a combined energy field that transcends the sum of its parts. This energetic phenomenon happens because your souls recognize each other at a quantum level, temporarily dissolving the illusion of separation that defines physical existence. The boundaries between you become permeable, allowing for profound experiences of unity consciousness. A painter from Santa Fe once described feeling as though she and her partner shared the same breath, the same heartbeat, during their deepest moments of connection. In my trance state, I perceived that these souls had spent many lifetimes as spiritual teachers who had mastered the art of energy merging through tantric practices. Their current relationship was reawakening this ancient spiritual technology. When you experience this expanded state of consciousness with another person, where you feel simultaneously more yourself and more united with something greater than yourself, you've likely encountered a soul with whom you've practiced this sacred connection across many lifetimes. It's important to understand that according to my readings, we don't have just one soulmate waiting for us. Rather, we belong to soul groups, or soul families, collections of souls who incarnate together repeatedly to assist in each other's evolution. Within these soul families, we form different types of relationships across lifetimes, sometimes romantic, sometimes as parent and child, sometimes as trusted friends, or even challenging adversaries. What defines these relationships isn't the external form they take, but the intensity of growth they catalyze. The soul recognizes its spiritual companions regardless of the changing costumes they wear from lifetime to lifetime. I often cautioned those who sought my counsel against the limiting belief that there exists only one perfect match. Such thinking can lead to missed opportunities for meaningful connection or unrealistic expectations that no human relationship can satisfy. Instead, I encouraged an expanded awareness that we are surrounded by soul companions who arrive in our lives at precisely the right moment to help us evolve. Some of these connections may last a lifetime, while others fulfill their purpose in brief but transformative encounters. All are sacred agreements made before birth. During my thousands of readings, I observed that our souls create specific recognition codes that help us identify important soul connections in each lifetime. These might manifest as inexplicable emotional reactions, shared symbols or dreams, or even subtle physical sensations when in each other's presence. A teacher from Philadelphia once reported feeling a distinct warming sensation in her chest whenever she was near a particular colleague. In my trance state, I could see that they had established this specific energetic signature across many lifetimes as a way to recognize each other, regardless of their changing physical appearances. Your body's subtle energy system often remembers what your conscious mind has forgotten. A profound aspect of soulmate relationships that emerged in my readings was their karmic dimension. Souls often incarnate together to resolve unfinished business or balance energetic debts from previous lifetimes. This explains why some soulmate connections feel both intensely attractive and strangely difficult. They contain both the resonance of soul recognition and the tension of unresolved karma. A businessman from Dallas described feeling both inexplicably drawn to and slightly uncomfortable around his new business partner. My reading revealed they had once been rivals in ancient Rome, where one had betrayed the other in a political conspiracy. They had incarnated together again to transform this karmic pattern through a relationship based on trust and integrity.
When examining the Akashic records, I frequently observed that soulmates often share what might be called soul specialties, particular qualities or talents that they have developed together across many lifetimes. Perhaps you both have an unusual affinity for certain historical periods, or share passionate interests that seem to come from nowhere, or possess complementary abilities that create something remarkable when combined.
These shared soul specialties often provide clues to your previous incarnations together and the purpose of your current reunion. They represent accumulated soul wisdom that you've developed in tandem, lifetime after lifetime. The concept of divine timing proved especially relevant in my readings about soulmate connections. I often saw that souls arrange to meet at specific junctures when both have completed certain lessons and are ready for the next phase of growth. This explains why some important relationships enter our lives only after periods of intensive self-development or following major life transitions. A writer from Colorado described meeting her soulmate shortly after completing a spiritual retreat that had profoundly transformed her self-perception. My reading revealed that both souls had agreed to reunite only after she had overcome specific patterns of self-doubt that would have otherwise undermined their relationship. What then is the ultimate purpose of soulmate relationships? Through my thousands of readings, a consistent pattern emerged. These profound connections serve as accelerated paths to remembering our true spiritual nature. When we encounter a soul with whom we've shared many lifetimes, the familiar resonance creates a momentary thinning of the veil between physical reality and the greater spiritual dimensions from which we come. In these precious relationships, we catch glimpses of our larger identity beyond the confines of one lifetime. We remember, however briefly, the vastness and eternity of the soul's journey. The greatest gift of recognizing your soulmate, therefore, isn't the relationship itself, but the expanded awareness it makes possible. Through the mirror of their eyes, you begin to perceive yourself as you truly are, not merely a physical being having occasional spiritual experiences, but a spiritual being navigating a temporary physical journey. Your soulmate reflects back to you your own divine nature, helping you remember what you've always been but had forgotten upon incarnating. This remembrance is the true treasure of the soulmate relationship, far more precious than any romantic notion of perfect compatibility. In my final years of giving readings, I came to understand that the entire universe operates according to principles of resonance and attraction, what we now commonly call the law of attraction. Soulmate relationships demonstrate this cosmic law at its most powerful. Your soul continuously broadcasts its unique energetic signature across dimensions, calling to those with whom it shares sacred agreements. When you meet your soulmate, you're experiencing the fruition of this subtle energetic communication, a communion that transcends physical time and space. It is, in essence, two aspects of the divine recognizing each other through the veil of physical form. The recognition of a soulmate invites us to expand our understanding of love beyond the personal to the transpersonal, beyond the limited ego self to the universal self. In my readings, I frequently observed that mature soulmate relationships ultimately transcend personal attachment to become conduits for divine love to enter the world. The relationship becomes not merely about the happiness of two individuals, but about their combined capacity to channel higher consciousness into earthly existence. This perspective transforms the relationship from a means of personal fulfillment to a sacred vehicle for planetary healing. What, then, are we to do with this profound understanding of soulmate connections? First, remain awake to the possibility of recognition. Your soulmate may appear in unexpected forms or circumstances that challenge your preconceptions about the right partner. Second, approach all significant relationships as opportunities for spiritual growth rather than merely sources of personal happiness. And third, remember that the ultimate purpose of recognizing your soulmate isn't to attach to them, but to remember, through the mirror of their presence, your own divine nature and purpose for incarnating. The 6 signs we've explored: immediate recognition, altered time perception, meaningful synchronicities, purposeful challenges, accelerated spiritual awakening, and expanded consciousness, serve as guideposts on the journey of soul recognition. Yet beyond these signs lies the greater invitation to remember that all souls are ultimately connected in the vast tapestry of cosmic consciousness. Your soulmate provides a personal gateway to this universal truth, a bridge between individual love and the infinite love from which all being emerges. The most beautiful truth revealed in my readings was that as souls progress spiritually, the circle of those we recognize as soulmates gradually expands. What begins as recognition of specific souls from our immediate soul family eventually grows to encompass a wider and wider circle of beings. The most advanced souls can perceive the divine spark in everyone they encounter, recognizing all beings as sacred companions on the cosmic journey. This expanded consciousness represents the ultimate flowering of the soulmate connection, from specific recognition to universal recognition, from personal love to universal compassion. Perhaps you've already met someone who bears these 6 signs of soul recognition, or perhaps your soulmate is yet to appear in your current life journey. Either way, trust in the precision of divine timing and the wisdom of your soul's arrangements. The connections that will serve your highest evolution will arrive when both you and they are ready for the growth you've agreed to experience together. Until then, the most powerful preparation is to develop yourself spiritually, to become ever more conscious, compassionate, and authentic. For the clearer your own energetic signature becomes, the more easily your soul companions will recognize you across the crowded room of earthly existence. The recognition of your soulmate ultimately offers a glimpse of what awaits all souls as they evolve. the progressive dissolution of the illusion of separation, and the remembrance of our fundamental unity. Each profound connection serves as practice for this eventual cosmic realization. Through the love we experience with our closest soul companions, we rehearse for the ultimate reunion, the return of individual consciousness to universal consciousness, like countless drops of water rejoining the ocean from which they temporarily emerged as distinct forms. The love between soulmates foreshadows this greater reunion that is the destiny of all souls. As you reflect on the relationships in your life, remain open to the whispers of soul recognition.
Notice the people with whom you experience these 6 signs of soul connection. Approach these relationships with reverence and curiosity, understanding that they've been orchestrated by your higher self for purposes that may extend beyond your current awareness. Each significant connection offers a unique opportunity to remember more of who you truly are and why you chose to incarnate at this pivotal time in human evolution.
Your soulmates are divine appointments arranged by your soul before birth, cosmic reunions disguised as chance encounters. I invite you to take a moment now to consider the most significant relationships in your life through this expanded lens. Which connections bear the hallmarks of soul recognition we've explored? Which relationships have catalyzed your greatest growth, expanded your consciousness, or helped you remember your spiritual nature? These are your soul companions, whether they've appeared as lovers, friends, family members, teachers, or even challenging adversaries. Honor the sacred agreements that have brought these souls into your life and the precious opportunities for evolution they represent. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of soulmate connections as revealed through my lifetime of readings. If these insights have resonated with your own experiences or sparked new understanding, please share your thoughts in the comments below. Each of your reflections is read and deeply valued. Your engagement through likes helps share these spiritual perspectives with others who may be seeking similar wisdom. Subscribe to ensure you don't miss future explorations of the soul's journey across dimensions and lifetimes. Remember, the recognition of your soulmate isn't the end of your spiritual journey, but a beautiful milestone along the eternal path of the soul's evolution toward unity consciousness.